Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz saxophonist Wayne Escoffery. We caught up with him to talk about this COVID-19 quarantine world with no live jazz and to talk about his critically acclaimed 2020 CD, Humble Warrior, released during this time of a pandemic. And we also talked about hope and silver linings. Enjoy.
Hey, Wayne, Joe Domino with Neon Jazz.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, man. Trying to make it through this weird David Lynch dream we're in.
I hear you. Me too.
Oh, man. So how you hold up?
I'm hanging in there. You know, New York's tricky, and I live in the Bronx, so it's even a little bit more difficult.
Wow.
But we're making it work. We're making it work.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, thanks for taking a minute. I think probably a little bit of therapy in all of this is talking music.
Oh, for sure. Thanks, man.
Man, so I love the new album. Talk to me a little bit about your feelings on releasing this during a pandemic, where people have the latitude to listen, but you can't necessarily do everything you want, like play live with it.
Yeah, I mean that's really the saddest thing about it. I mean, is that in fact, in about a week, I was supposed to head off to Europe to start a 3-week international tour with the band, performing the music, and so that's definitely a sad part of it. But on the bright side, which is what I think we're all trying to focus on these days, the album's being received really well. It makes me feel really happy about, and in some ways, I think we're able to kind of ingest art in a different kind of way during this pandemic. I think we're all realizing how important it is, and it gives people more time to listen to the music. So I'm finding that people are really enjoying certain parts of the album even more than I might have thought that they would have. So it's all good. It's all good.
You know, the thing that struck me, I've had some realizations about jazz musicians. I mean, you all are improv masters, and this life we're living in is definitely the highest level of improv. You know, it almost seems like you jazz artists are going to have a pretty good feel on conveying this artistically, this era, this feeling that we're all in. Yeah,
and I think for better or for worse or whatever it is, I think a lot of the albums that are coming out now during this time, they're going to be special, have a special place in history due to what's happening now. So that's one aspect of it.
You know, the other thing that I realized too, you talked about the importance of art. We keep hearing about first responders, and we can't downplay any of that. But I really think artists right now are on the front line. I think you all are just as important. Because, man, if we didn't have music and art and TV and music, can you imagine how dark it would be right now?
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, that's true. And also as artists, that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps us sane during all of this. The other thing, I mean, honestly, I hate to use the phrase front line, and I know you must in the sincerest way, and so do I when I say it. But in many ways, the artists are going to also be the first ones to get on planes. We're going to be the first ones to be in these enclosed environments when venues open back up. And of course, we're nowhere near like first responders or people like that. But as far as the social aspect of it, in some ways, we're going to be the ones, on the front line in that respect as well.
That's interesting. When did you know this big, huge new world domino was falling and jazz was going to be silenced? Was it mid-March, earlier than that? And what was the narrative that you were living through when that happened?
Well, what's funny is, I'm teaching a few places, but one of my main teaching gigs is at the Yale School of Music. And one of my students studies statistics, amongst other things. And back in, I think, February, he was telling me that coming back for school break, he analyzed what was happening. He said he didn't think we were coming back for school break. He told me not to buy my tickets for my tour in May because I wouldn't be going. And he pretty much predicted everything. And I was like, some of us in the class were kind of like, I don't know, man. And he was dead on. So the funny thing is in the beginning of March, I think around March 1st, I had a gig in Miami at the Melton Mustafa Jazz Festival, and just after that, when I came back, so maybe the first or second week in March, I realized that things were definitely going to stop happening, and I had a week engagement with Monty Alexander in Seattle, actually, and that was one of the first hard hit places. And I actually called Monty to tell him that I didn't think that gig was going to happen. But that was around like the second week of March.
So, once we get out of this, we will get back to live music. What do you hope both the musician and the audience gets from this time away? Any realizations?
I don't even know. I mean, I think the large lesson is to really not take for granted what you have, whether that's music, whether it's the loved ones you have in your life, whether it's a roof over your head, whether it's that you live in a place that has a backyard or access to greenery. I think the big lesson is just to appreciate what you have and don't take what you have for granted.
Amen. Wayne, thanks for taking a minute, man. I really appreciate it. I just want you all to know collectively that, you all are already raw people, and the fact that you're taking some time out to talk to me about this, I think is very important to, kind of talk about the music and get it out there. So thanks for taking some time out. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, and thanks for supporting the music and bringing people to what we're doing despite everything that's happening now. That actually helps us get through it, knowing that people are enjoying our music and appreciating the work we've done. So thank you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in California, New York, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Wayne for his time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.